Hello, and thank you for viewing this video in which I will be unboxing and giving my initial impressions of my Assets Drop Discovery Box for February 2018. My name is Steve, this is the SDFnet 40k channel, and let us begin. Now, my apologies for this review coming so late. My reasonably unique delivery requirements, to which Asset Drop have been more than accommodating, have actually backfired upon me with regard to February's box, as I've not been able to access the delivered parcel until very recently. Hopefully the problem won't occur again in the future, as I've now simplified my delivery requirements, but that is the reason that we're a little bit late this month. Hopefully going forwards we'll be releasing these videos on a more timely manner. Now, before I get into the contents of this month's box, let's first do the obligatory introduction for those new to my videos or to my blog as to who Asset Drop are and what a discovery box is. Asset Drop are a company who offer miniature hobby and painting supplies in the form of monthly mystery boxes. The company launched its first box in October 2017 with its first paint box, and my first box was in November of 2017. The Discovery Box offers 7 to 8 miniature paints or products such as basing materials, etc. Each month spread across 3 different brands and themes, together with a custom guide explaining the box contents and giving different techniques for their use. The products included in the box are ones outside the core brands that you would normally expect here in the UK, so we would not be getting Games Workshop, Army Painter or Vallejo, for example. The concept of the box is to introduce painters to new and interesting products or ranges, and to broaden your experience and discover new techniques. So, in January, they also launched a second box, which they've entitled the Heroines box, and at that point they also rebranded the Paints box to what is now the Discovery box. The Heroines box is aimed at painters and collectors, and offers a female miniature together with a scenic base and 3 to 4 paints. The Heroines box was the brainchild of Gemma from the Asset Drop team. Gemma is the company's custom service guru, with whom I've had a number of interactions, all of which have been examples of how a company really should treat their customers. Gemma and Asset Drop have always been a genuine pleasure to work with. In recent news, for those existing subscribers who may have missed the email, at the end of February, Andy, who is the owner of Asset Drop, published an email advertising that the shipping date of the boxes will be transitioning to early in the month. This may take a few months to come into effect, but Andy is hoping that by summer they will be in a position whereby we will receive our boxes a lot earlier following our subscription payments. I can't personally say that this has been a particular problem with that I've had this problem with the service, but you know, I'm always open to getting my hands on a shiny mystery box earlier in the month. In other news, for existing subscribers, Asset Drop have transitioned to a new online store and account management system. Existing subscribers will have received an email inviting them to log into their accounts on the new system. The new system will offer subscribers more control over their accounts and give Asset Drop better scalability going forwards. So, all good stuff. If you're interested in checking out Asset Drop for yourself, head over to www.assetsdrop.co. There will be a link in the description as well. They do offer a refer a friend service, but the link I've provided in the description is not an affiliate link. I'm so impressed with their service and so confident that you will have a top tier experience that I'm offering my recommendation without any hint of personal gain for me doing so. I can genuinely say, without equivocation or hesitation, that I recommend Asset Drop to any painter or collector of miniatures. With that out of the way, let's now take a look at the reason why so many people have tuned into this video and have a look at what's actually in the Discovery box. First things first, as I always do, let's take a moment to appreciate the presentation and the out-of-box experience. Your box will come packaged in this brown cardboard box with the Asset Drop sticker and logo in the center and a sticker in the top right, which identifies which box you will be receiving. As we do this one-handed, open the lid, we are greeted with the bespoke product guide. I will come back to this later. We also have this layer of black tissue paper. Oh, the stickers come a bit undone there, never mind. This serves two functions. Firstly, it presents the box really nicely, and also it holds the contents in place during shipping, which is good. This month, in the lid, as we can see, if I move the box a little bit, we have a toothpick or cocktail stick, which we've seen in previous boxes for the purpose of chipping. As we open the layer of tissue paper, oh yeah, now it's sticking, we have a layer of bubble wrap, which will further help protect the box contents. And finally, the paints and products are cushioned in this bed of what I'm given to believe is called wood wool. Now, I know I say this every time I open one of these boxes, but it cannot be understated. The presentation and care that goes into every one of these boxes is really top tier. The experience of receiving and opening the mystery box is one of reassuring quality and value. You genuinely feel that you're getting a premium product at a really competitive price. I've seen other copycat boxes springing up recently that appear to have lifted the entire business model and presentation style of Asset Drop, and they offer less in terms of miniatures and paint and frequently charge more money. I know from my discussions with the company that Asset Drop really did their research before launching the product. They came first in this recent spate of mystery miniature boxes, try saying that 3 times fast, and I feel they really have done it right. So, without further ado, the first item out of the box are 2 paints from Dark Star. I'm assuming, let's have a quick look. I'm assuming Molten Metals is the metallic range. The 2 tones are Blackened Bronze and Bronze. The paints come in this plastic bag. I don't know if that means these bottles are prone to leaking, but mine haven't, so that's okay. The bottles are 17 millilitres, and they do have agitators, so that's something I always like, especially with metallic paints. Personally, I'm not aware of Dark Star paints. I've seen their name come up, appear on Element when I'm looking on the website, but I've previously not had any discussions about them. Referring to the product guide, we can see that these the RRP for these per bottle is £3.50, and Andy has described, I don't know how clear it is there, but them as really high quality, and they actually look like molten metal on your palette, hence the name. So that'll be interesting to try out. He goes on to say the pigments are fine and dense, so you get good coverage and rich colours. The colours are immensely varied and strives for a glossy satin finish, giving an extra layer of shine. In fact, it's amazing. I can't read things aloud when I'm on video. In fact, the founder, I assume, of Dark Star, advertised you can actually polish the paint once it's dry for some extra luster. That'd be interesting to try. The bronze colour could come in quite useful. As I'm painting up things for Necromunda, I've been using Valhalla metallics to break up the silver on the bulkheads and things. But those paints are basically terrible, well, the non-airbrush versions at least, so I'd be glad to substitute them out. Next out the box we have 2 washes from Secret Weapon. We have Green Black and Sewer Water, I saw there. These washes are 20 millilitre bottles, and let's refer to the guide. They have a RRP of £3.50 each. As with the Dark Star, I personally have a very limited experience with Secret Weapon products, but the name is known to me. If memory serves, we had some Secret Weapon paints back in November's box. It was a triad of blacks, I believe, and associated highlight colours. Let's see. Andy describes these paints as fantastic, made of high quality pigments and an extensive range of colours. Reading on, a point of interest to me is he says these pigments, I'll start again. The pigments in these washes are super fine, meaning you don't get the chalkiness or cover up any details. I find this point interesting personally because Vallejo washes, which are absolutely the worst on the market. I've had two sets of these washes in my time, and with the exception of the Sepia shade, they are basically unusable as they leave a chalky residue on a model, which can the only solution is to basically strip it, as even if you paint over the area, it will leave it with a texture. I thought that this may have just been a problem with the first set that I got, but it was old or sort of badly mixed set or something. But two sets of all the colours having the exact same problem, that just tells me that the Vallejo product is worthless, and my feelings on it is it shouldn't even be up for sale. But anyway, the other reason that this caught my eye is the comment about obscuring detail. In lieu of Vallejo, I tried the Army Painter washes. While these don't have the same problem as Vallejo, they do tend to obliterate detail unless they're really carefully managed, which you may not always be doing if you're like washing an entire army or something, or washing a large area. And they also kind of frequently dry to a gloss finish, which is not really what you want for a shade. I think this might be to do with Army Painter washes, as they are closer to kind of tinted varnishes, I believe. The basic idea on their big tins of dip is quite literally it being tone-matched wood stain, and the consistency of that liquid is a great deal more viscous than, for example, the Games Workshop washes, and which are kind of fractionally denser than water. Anyway, I digress. My point being is that I'm open to a new range of shades, so this will be interesting to get my hands on these ones from Secret Weapon. I apologise for the light. It's a gloomy day. It's snowing outside, so sorry about that. The green-black, which I'm not sure how well it's coming up on camera, but the green-black shade is kind of dark green. I feel it'd be more the colour palette of modern military colours rather than the kind of the vivid coloured fantasy palettes often associated with wargaming miniatures. That's not to say it couldn't be used for something like an Astra Militarum or in like the grimdark scenery of the 41st millennium. The sewer water shade is a kind of black-brown tone. I think this would be best used for creating grime effects, so again like weathering on tanks or scenery. So those are very interesting. Next out the box is this Secret Weapon weathering pigment in faded blue tone. The pot contains, excuse me, coming off camera. Sorry, couldn't see it there. The pot contains 20 milligrams of pigment powder and has a recommended retail price of £5. Looking at the colour, especially we've taken with the two bronze colours in this discovery box, this is obviously meant for creating verdigris patterns. I've not had any experience using weathering pigments or powders. I know we've received them in previous asset drop boxes, but at the time, as I said then, I didn't really know what to do with them or how to apply them, so I kind of stayed away. And full disclosure time, whilst I've had the pigment and instructions for a while now, I haven't actually gotten around to using them yet. But my instant reaction to this tiny pot, being £5 RRP, is that it's kind of extremely expensive. Obviously, that's not the fault of Asset Drop, but it would put me off buying this on the open market. That said, however, it might be that you need so little of this product to create a stark and striking effect that a small pot may last years. It would be interesting to test how this would compare to Games Workshop's Nailac Oxide technical paint. That's only, I believe, it's like 12 millilitres, and it costs, I don't know, £2.50 or something. I've used Nailac Oxide a number of times, and I know it to be quick and easy, and it produces good results. It'd be interesting to find out how this weathering powder compares to that for the extra time, money, and effort. Now, I've spoken about the product so far. I did notice, going back to the guide, I'm trying to get that in camera and flick it over. I went through all of those together because I did notice when I put the guide to one side that they all seem to kind of feed into the effects used in the demonstrations in the guide. First we get the demonstration on how to apply the 2 tones of bronze, and in washing them with the secret weapon washes, which will be useful for Necromunda. And then applying, sorry for knocking the camera, applying Nailac, the verdigris effect, and I think that looks pretty cool. These guides really are fantastic resources for just following along step by step. It's like Duncan's videos on Warhammer TV, except on a wider range of products. The last paints from the box are a triad from the manufacturer Hataka. I think that's how you pronounce it. We got 3 colours. These look like the standard 17ml bottles. And quick test. Yep, they do have agitators. That's a good thing. These retail for an RRP of £2.30 each. Now, I've never actually heard of this brand, so I'm going to quote you on exactly what Andy says about them. Hataka Hobby specialises in realistic creation of military and transport colours from many different time periods and multiple countries. This makes them ideal for painting vehicles as well as military style clothing. So the brand may be new or it might be well established, I don't know. But there are brands that may be big in, say, the model railway markets that simply haven't migrated to the wargaming ecosystem yet. That market, for instance, has been established for a while longer, and they had products like static grass and water effects long before they kind of made their way to the wargaming scene. Anyway, the theme of this triad is obviously looking at the tones camouflage. We have medium green, camouflage green, and Polish AFV greyish sand. Obviously these colours would obviously they would appear in a mystery box the month after I went a bit mad painting camo patterns on Catachan Jungle Fighters, but still, camouflage is deliberately random, so I feel these new colours could mix into my existing scheme without spoiling the theme of the army, if I just kind of subtly bring them in on some models and then kind of do a mix between the existing scheme and these new paints. Referring to the very useful guide, Andy has gone into different types of camo pattern. It seems the pattern that I used was the woodland camouflage scheme. I feel this is probably influenced by the traditional association, in my mind's eye at least, with the British Armed Forces, which is obviously my closest point of reference. The box also contains this sponge, makeup sponge, and the toothpick that I mentioned earlier. I point these out because I noticed that Andy said to produce the woodland camouflage effect on vehicles, that those would be useful to achieve it. This would obviously be good for me because it would mean I could finally paint that Baneblade that I've been talking about since Christmas, as I'd want to be using it to the camo to match the infantry of the army. So well done, Andy, very useful information to me. And that's it in terms of the box contents. Let's arrange these a little bit nicely for you. So that's it in terms of the box contents, with the exception, of course, of the all-important sweets. No mystery box would be complete without them. In summation, I'm extremely happy with this box. Every element in it will be useful in the immediate term. Last month's snow effects, for example, were probably excellent, but it's just not a specific product and effects that I will be looking for in the immediate future. But I'll be very interested in trying out the metallics, as in my experience, there's been kind of a great deal of variation between manufacturers, and as with the case of the shades as well. The ones included in the box will be useful for aging the bronze of Necromunda to kind of add accent colours and things, or the camo patterns on the Catachans, or even those bronzes for breaking up the the silver on the new Knight Armigers from the Forgebane box, which is gone up for pre-order. So that'll be exciting to get those on there. Now, I realise each product that I've picked up to review today, I've said something like, I've not used this product, or I've not used this brand, or something, but that's the exact point of this discovery box. It's to broaden my horizons and into new products that may work differently or better. I took a flyer and jumped in with the Vallejo paint when I returned to the hobby. My thinking was that I preferred the dropper bottles to the Games Workshop pots, and that Vallejo was better value for money per pot, because you're getting more paint in each pot, and also that the Vallejo would offer a continuity of range, because Games Workshop, in the time I've known, have been through 3 or 4 different paint suppliers, and as such that would mean different shades, so you wouldn't be able to get continuity, whereas a company like Vallejo, who make their own paints, if you buy a pot now or buy a pot in 10 years, in theory it should be the same tone of colour. The decision to use Vallejo has been mostly good. There are some real stinkers in the range, such as their washes and their non-airbrush metallics. Through my Asset Drop subscription, I feel I've discovered new product ranges and suppliers, and been shown how to use them to achieve, at least according to the guides, high caliber results. I can't actually comment on my ability to use them, but that's a different story altogether. Now, I round this off by talking about an aspect of my subscription that really stands out to me, and I was remiss in not talking about last month, and that is the charitable giving percentage of each box. From day one of this service, 5% of the profit of every box sold has been donated to the Blue Marine Foundation, who are a charitable organisation dedicated to the conservation of the oceans. I personally feel quite passionately about this topic myself, as we, as a species, are continuing to ravage the planet's ecosystems with apparent little regard to the consequences. I'm not going to go on a rant on the topic, but I just wanted to make a point of the fact that your subscription is in small part going to help save the planet, and enough small parts can lead to a big change, as they say. I praise Asset Drop for leading with this charitable aspect. When launching a new product and a new business, every penny counts. I'm not knocking the sentiment, but if you're an established profitable company, it's a lot easier to make the choice to donate a portion of that profit to a charity. That Andy has opted to sacrifice that money from day one, I believe speaks very highly to the nature of the people behind the brand, and shows that they're kind of really quality. And well, that's me done for now. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me ramble on. I hope you enjoyed the video. I welcome your constructive feedback in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a like, share it, subscribe, do all the stuff. All of it helps me to know what's working. In the meantime, I have been Steve. This has been the SDFNet's 40k blog, and I will see you next time. The Emperor protects.